Hi, welcome to Becky's Garden Paradise. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to my garden. So I wanted to just take a moment to talk a little bit about myself in case you're new to my channel. But again, my name is Becky and I love to garden. I love to share my garden adventures with you. I also like to cook and preserve the harvest, so I do canning and dehydrating and different things like that. I also, freeze some things. So I hope that you'll join me along for the 2025 growing season. So I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I work full-time as a teacher. I also have a part-time job at a senior living community, and so hopefully my channel will provide some inspiration to you if you like to garden but you think you might be too busy, that you can make it happen if you really want to, because if you like to garden, if you're interested in it, it can bring you a lot of joy. It can bring you a lot of stress relief. You can feel a sense of peace when you're out in the garden. It's also rewarding to watch your plants grow and be able to harvest from them. So in this video I'm going to show you a few things that I was up to over the past week. Today is Saturday, April 5th. And at the beginning of the week, I added to my compost system that my previous video showed me putting together. And I also harvested a few things that you'll see in this video. And I started planting tomatoes. So I'm in zone 9, and being, the fact that I work a lot, my garden isn't always perfect. I don't always have the time or the energy to get everything done all the time, but I do make an effort to make time for it because it's really worth it to me, in my opinion. So I'll show you some of the tomatoes that I've planted. A little over a month ago I posted a birthday video titled "You Might Love Gardening If," and I showed you some of the gifts that I've gotten from friends and family, including plants and seeds and other garden related items. So I've been blessed again with some additional tomato plants. I got another 6-pack of Cherokee purple tomatoes. I got a 6-pack of Lemon Boy, or no, are they? Lemon Boy. Yes, Lemon Boy tomatoes, which are round, medium-sized yellow slicing tomato. And I got a 6-pack of, actually a 4-pack, my mistake, a 4 because I'm looking over at them right now, a 4-pack of habanero peppers, which I also love to grow peppers. So it's kind of funny that this year I wasn't even planning on growing that many tomatoes, but between the tomatoes that I started from seed and the tomatoes that were tomato plants that were gifted to me, it looks like it's gonna be the year of the tomato around here. I'm not growing as many peppers as I usually grow, but that's okay. So this year the majority of the peppers that I'm growing are called pimento peppers, which are they grow to be a heart-shaped sweet pepper with a really smoky scent to them. They're good for making paprika, or you can use them like a bell pepper. And then I'm also growing some cayenne peppers that I started from seed, because I like to use those to make my own dried red pepper flakes, which I look forward to sharing with you in the future. And then with the habanero peppers, I'll use those to season different things like stews and rice. You can freeze those really well and use them throughout the year. I've also made plenty of hot sauce in the past, but that's one of my things on the list that I do not need to make this year because I have so much hot sauce that I made last year. So anyway, join me as I take you around my garden just to give you an update on what I have growing on. So this is kind of like my seed starting table. I did start some peppers indoors. These are a few beds that I had planted with old seeds, and a couple of the Jubilee watermelon came up, and I'll show you how I transplanted those. That in the back is a butternut squash. The rest of the pots that didn't come up, I did get new seeds this year thanks to my sister, and so I'm going to replant those with those seeds. And then in these 2 trays I planted a variety of flower seeds. So these ones, you can see, I can't remember the name of them, but they're starting to come up. And then I also planted zinnia in these first 4 cell packs, and then the back 4 cells I put sunflower seeds in. And then over here I have the rest of the Roma tomatoes that I started from seed, and I also started these indoors, and then I up potted them. You can see that I used like barbecue skewers as little stakes when I transplanted them, because they were a little droopy. They got a little leggy inside, but you can see that they're doing really well now. I had a full tray of Roma tomatoes, but I already planted half of the tray, and I still got a few left that need to go in the ground. And then in the back, these are the packs of the Cherokee Purple and Lemon Boy tomatoes that were gifted to me yesterday. And then up front is the 4-pack of the habanero peppers that are going to get transplanted, and those are going to be more than enough habaneros, so I'll have plenty to share as well. Because I know one year when I lived in an apartment, I grew 1 habanero plant in a pot on my patio at my apartment, and that 1 habanero plant gave me enough habaneros to freeze and use for a year. And then these are some orange striped cherry tomato plants that were also gifted to me from a friend. She started these from seed herself, and they were little bitty in these pots when she gave them to me, so I've just left them in the pots to let them grow and get a little bit more established before I transplant them. And then I have a couple more marigolds that I need to transplant. This is a bell pepper that overwintered. So here in Florida, you can overwinter a lot of the peppers. Sometimes I'll take them in the shed when we're going to get a freeze, but this year I just let everything fend for itself. And so it came back. It has this one branch that's drooping way over that I want to tie up, but you can see this is the first bell pepper of the year from the plant that overwintered. So it is one benefit of having pepper plants overwinter, is that they'll produce a lot quicker. So it has this one good sized bell pepper that I could take and use if I wanted to, but it also is putting on additional blooms. Like right here, you can see this one has been pollinated, and pepper plants are one of the plants that self-pollinate in the wind. So as long as you have a breeze, they'll pollinate on their own, and you can see that there are more flowers or buds forming. Underneath there's a couple buds, well, a few, you can see a few. So they bloom, and then the wind shakes the plant and it pollinates. This is one that's little bitty and has a spot. That's just I think a leaf or something. Yeah, that's like, this is what's left of the blossom that's dried up on the top of the pepper. And then you can also see how it looks on the blossom end. So it looks kind of funky, but I'm going to let it grow just to see how it grows. Sometimes the first fruits will be a little bit weird, maybe because of the temperatures. But it's been really, really warm here in Jacksonville, Florida. Yesterday morning on Friday, April 4th, when I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it was already 73 degrees. These are pots, fabric pots, that I grew cayenne peppers in last year. And they were moved when my garden got tilled over here. And I just haven't had the chance to come out and clean them up so that I can repurpose them. But I'll definitely be growing in these containers again this year. I just gotta pull out all the dead stuff, the leaves, the weeds, freshen the soil. Like, I'll add some fertilizer, top them off with fresh potting soil, and they'll be ready to go. And then this is the big garden, what I call the big garden. So I have the raised bed right here. And you can see that the dino kale is doing really well. I've had dino kale grow, and I started this from seed in the fall. But I've had this dino or lacinato kale grow for years before. And it does fine. It never bolted. But I have plenty of the kale, and it's the middle of the day with the sun blazing down really strong, so some of the plants are looking sad. So I'm going to take you into the big garden and give you an update on how things are growing out here. My dog loves to try to come in here with me, but she's gonna get locked out. There you go. She's a good guard dog. Okay. So, when I first walk in, I have these 3 rows under the weed fabric. And the first 2 rows I planted with my favorite green beans. So, the row closest to the fence, because I did like double, what do you want to call it? Like double rows. So there's 2 holes on each side of the row. So the row that I did closest to the fence, I planted that whole row with pole Blue Lake green beans. And I think I only see 2 germinating. Let's see if you can, like, there's one there. It's hard to see in the light, but there's one there, and then there's another one further down the row. Well, a couple more I see now. See, look, this is a surprise to me. I hadn't been out here yet today. So a couple more down toward the end of the row. So it looks like they are starting to germinate. They're just taking a little bit longer than the bush variety. So in the inside row here, I have the bush Blue Lake. And so the Blue Lake green beans are the green beans you buy canned in the store. And so those are all coming up good. I look forward to having those. And then I have a second row right here. And that is a double row of goldrush, which are yellow green beans. Similar to yellow wax beans, but they're called goldrush. Like I said, they're all starting to pop up pretty decently. And then this row, the third row, I haven't planted anything yet, but my plan is to plant purple hull peas, which are southern peas similar to a black-eyed pea, in the second half of that row, because my son was burning the holes for me, and I told him, that I wanted the double rows, and so he got carried away and made it to the third row and was halfway done, but I was like, no, I don't want, green beans in that row too. But anyway, I'm going to use those double holes. I appreciate his help, by the way. I'm going to plant a half of a double row of the purple hull peas this weekend. And then these holes are the second half of the row. I have just 1 row of holes in the middle, and they're about a foot apart. And right now my plan is to plant okra here, because okra loves the heat, and this is like, gets the most sun. This half of my garden over here in the front when you first walk in. And the pride of my garden at the moment is my row of snapdragons, and these are like a magenta colored, and they're just in full bloom, looking so beautiful. So I really love these. They're one of my favorite flowers, and so this year I wanted to make a point to have more flowers in the garden to make it even more beautiful. I usually grow tomatoes here, but I wanted to take a break from growing tomatoes in the same place to try to eliminate or mitigate some of the pest pressure. And then here in this in this container, I bought a couple herbs. The county extension office had an herb sale a couple weeks ago, and I bought these herbs there because I do like to grow my own herbs, especially basil, because I can grow enough basil to have, my own homegrown basil and not have to buy any from the store. But this here is oregano, and then this is thyme. Those are a couple more of my favorite herbs. I could probably grow more oregano as much as I use. I love to put it on top of salads. And then by this brick wall here, I have 4 rows. So I'll try to back up so that you can see all 4 rows. And the first 3 rows closest to the wall, I planted corn. And either critters like birds and squirrels and things might have gotten to it, or it might just be taking longer to germinate, but none of that has started popping up yet. We're supposed to get a lot of rain on Monday with some cooler temps after that. So by cooler, I mean like in the 70s. So we'll see if that rain gets that corn to pop up. If not, then I know I'm gonna at least grow some more okra over here, maybe some other things. But first I want to wait until after the rain this Monday to see if the corn's gonna do anything. And then this row here is a double row that I planted with striped green beans, and sadly none of them have started to pop up yet. But again, it's a different variety, so it might take longer. So I'm patiently waiting to see if they're going to come up, because they're supposed to be shaped similar to Blue Lake or like the canned green beans you get in the store, but they're supposed to be more productive, produce more green beans per plant. And then again, like I said, this is the middle of the day, hot sun. It's a little after 1 o'clock, so it's looking kind of sad, but they're just, you know, that's what plants do. And in the Florida sun, these are the 2 Jubilee watermelon that you'll see me transplanting later in the video. I have an overgrown double row right here that just has weeds in it right now, but I also plan on planting the purple hull peas in this row right here once I get it cleaned up, which is going to be tomorrow because I got to work this afternoon. All right, so here I have some of the marigolds that I transplanted. So even though it's hot blazing sun, they look a lot better than they did when I first transplanted them. So they'll grow and bush out and be wonderful. This is the first Cherokee purple tomato that I got. Well, yeah, and planted right here. I think I got one of them. This was the only one. Planted it here. It looked sad when I first planted it, but it's looking much better. And then here is a row of red onions that I have planted. And even though they didn't really grow, or maybe it did. Oh, look, aha. So I thought this thing was puny because all you could see was the stem coming out of the ground. And I'm like, oh man, it's already bent over and it didn't even grow. But as soon as I start to move the dirt away, it did start to bulb up a little bit. Oop, bird flying over me. So this is one of the rows of the Romas that I transplanted. Wow. Okay. Just looking at the little animals. Got birds and lizards and things going around. Okay, so this is one of the Roma tomatoes. And I did put cages on these. Still have some onions in the ground over here. I was trying to give them more time since the top didn't fall over yet. Trying to give them more time to grow some more before I pick them. So you can see. Little onions. It's alright. This is right now a sad looking turnip. But after the sun goes down, the leaves will perk right back up. You'll probably see that later in the video. And then that's the turnip underneath there, purple top turnip, and that is ready to harvest. So I'm gonna pick it in the morning. If you can, it's best to harvest in the morning. That's when you'll get, oh, you can see my shadow, sorry, but yeah, it's drooping over just because of the heat. But I'll show you when I first transplanted these. Alright, I'll cross back over. And this is a flower. When I bought it, the pack said blew my mind, and that it's in the morning glory family. But this survived the winter. I just need to come out here and trim all the dead stuff off, and it'll flush back out. I weeded it, but I still have some more weeds in here like this that I need to take care of. Alright, so now I'm going to take you from what I call the big garden to my patio garden. Alright, so this is the patio garden, and I have a couple of the lemongrass plants right here. You can see the newer one, that it was a volunteer. It came from seeds from this plant, which I've had for years, and my son had cut it back at, earlier in the year. But the newer plant has gone to seed. So I'll usually cut those seed heads off and throw them in the yard, because if they germinate in the yard, you know, that lemongrass will get mowed down anyway, but it's good for keeping mosquitoes away. But that one came as a volunteer. This jade plant was given to me a while ago. This, I always mess up the name, Vinca or Zinca. This plant is like over 2 feet tall, and this plant was a volunteer. I didn't plant it. It popped up. I recognized what it was, and look at it now. Alright. This is some of the, I think it's called Wandering Jew, that was given to me from a teacher that I work with. And it's been growing here for a while. Okay. Here are 3 cherry tomato plants that I have in buckets. One of them is an indigo cherry, the one in the middle, that I got at the county extension office's plant sale. And then the ones on the outside are, I have to look and remind myself. Let's see if I can find where oh yeah, here's the tag. I gotta put the tag in here because I'll forget. Grape, just a regular grape tomato. And those were gifted to me for my birthday. Have a couple buckets and a pot that I'm gonna transplant some of the tomatoes into. Probably a pepper in this pot and then tomatoes in those pots. And then in this one I have some onions, but I will also put pepper plant in this big pot. Here are 2 of the cucumber plants that I have in buckets, and I have tomato cages over them for them to grow up into, but they're both a patio cucumber, so they shouldn't get as big as, you know, some of the non-compact cucumber plants. Since it's patio, if it says patio, then that means it should be like a smaller dwarf style plant. This is the table that I have onions and shallots still growing on. So these are the shallots in the big fabric pot, and then these are onions that are still going. These are the green onions that you can see now they're in bloom, and I come out here whenever I need green onions for a recipe and cut what I need. I've heard of some people eating the onion blossoms or using them in salad dressings and things. I haven't taken that adventure yet. You can let me know if you have and what you think. But they're pretty and they smell like onions. And then I still have curly kale, which I'm going to be harvesting the rest of it soon because it, you know, changes the taste once it gets hot. And I like to usually eat it raw in salad. And then these are the other 2 buckets that I have cucumbers growing in, and it's the same variety, the patio variety of cucumber. Just one of the packs that my sister sent me. Is the first cucumber seeds I had put in the buckets, they were old and they didn't come up. But that was alright because my sister sent me all those new seeds. And this is like an oak tree. Like the little acorn things, whatever they are from the oak tree, they'll drop in the pots and try to come up. Pardon the lawnmower in the background, but this is my strawberry, well, my strawberry plants right here. You can see that they're still blooming and producing, but I have a couple that are ripening, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick those, and they can ripen the rest of the way after I pick them. So that's much further than they would be ripened if you got them from the store. And I want to pick them before I water the plant because they get rained on, they get kind of yucky real quick. But you can see how pretty and lush the leaves look. Just to show you, there's some up underneath there, so you gotta like check around the leaves. Some of them sometimes end up tiny, but that's okay. Still nice to have your own homegrown strawberries. They're gonna be red all the way through, not white on the inside like the ones that you get at the store. So I have some more onions that are ready to harvest. This one's not completely bent, but it's soft enough in that stem that I'm going to go ahead and pull it. Even though it's little, hey, they pay big money in the store for pearl onions. That's bigger than a pearl onion. That's like the size of a shallot. I'm just going to put them to the side. As I go down the row and pull the ones that are ready. I could pull them all if I wanted to, but I'm not in a rush to flip this bed to grow something else. So this one is also, you see how it's bent over like that. I just weeded this bed. Doesn't take long. Let's see. Plus, when I get all the onions out, it'll be easier. All right. See this one? Still not ready. These couple right here. So I'm gonna let them go. This one is. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one. Pulled out of the ground pretty easy. I wanted to pull these ones that were ready before I water over here. That's a good size onion. Here's another one. Here's the turnip doing pretty good. I want to check on it, see what the size is looking like underneath here. Yeah. It's decent. It's still pretty little, but edible. It'd be perfect with the greens. That's what I usually do. If I don't have that many turnips, I just cook up the turnip greens and chop up the turnip and cook it in with them. Those leaves are big though. I have some red onions behind the turnip that are not ready yet. I just fertilized them. Like you can see this one right here, that's a little bitty. I have some other ones back here behind it. The red onions are not ready yet. I have red onions in this row over here that are thirsty. They need a drink of water. Just a few, not too many. I'm out planting today. We're supposed to get some rain this weekend, so I'm taking advantage of the overcast weather. But these are two Jubilee watermelons that I started from seed that I'm gonna plant in these holes here. This is a tray of Roma tomatoes that I started with seed that my sister sent me, and so they're ready to go. I had to give them some TLC, so I used skewers as little stakes because they were a little leggy from being started inside, but they're doing good. You see they've been bouncing back. The roots are starting to grow through the bottom of the holes. So I'm just gonna space them out in this area so you can see the roots that are starting to come through. So they're ready to get transplanted. And I have a whole tray, so that's exciting because that is 2, 4, 6, 18 here. Plus I have 2 in little round pots over there that I'm gonna plant. So I'm just gonna put them in the spaces that I have between the onions and where my garlic didn't come up. I have a couple garlic plants that are coming up here in this middle row. And if I can squeeze some in by the onions in this row, I will, because those onions I know are going to be coming out soon. Planted Cherokee purple here. So it's looks like it's struggling right now, but I have faith that it's going to bounce back. I have that one there, and I have another one on the other side of the garden. But you can see my snapdragon flowers in the middle are looking really good. I planted thyme and oregano here in this pot. This was the pot that I harvested the shallots in the last video. So, roam it in here between my sad looking marigold and the end of my onion row. And I have cages for these Roma tomatoes. One of the good things about Roma tomatoes is that they're determinate, so they only get a certain height. They produce all their fruit at the same time, and then they are done, so you can take them out once you harvest the tomatoes and put something else in, like okra. Alright, I have this tomato tone. This is organic, granulated fertilizer. So it takes a few months, you know, before everything is available. I put like, you know, almost about a handful. My hands are small, but, you know, about a handful. So I just dig the hole. I mix the fertilizer in the bottom of the hole. And I'm going to take my Roma out. It could have lasted more. Like, I could have waited to transplant it, but it's already the end of March, so I might as well get this bad boy in here. It's okay. I could have planted them earlier, but I didn't. It's okay, because they're determinate anyway. Okay, and I'll just leave it in here with this little, like I said, skewer that I used as a stake. I can save these and reuse them. And then I have cages that I'll put around them to support them. Okay, this is a short one, probably like a, I think like a 3-foot tomato cage. Push it down as good as I can, and then that way as it grows up it has something to support it, especially if there's wind, heavy rain, if it gets heavy laden with tomatoes, it'll be good to go. Holes that I already had from last year. I used to grow tomatoes or eggplant in these holes. So I have the shovel or the spade. I'm going to dig my dirt out of the hole. It's good to rotate what you grow. Don't want to grow tomatoes in the same place year after year. Started having problems with those little white fuzzy looking mealybug things. So I decided to not grow so many tomatoes over here in the big garden. Alright, so I dug out, try to make sure you got a big enough hole to fit the plant down in. I got tree roots down in there. This is granulated 10-10-10. I use this because the watermelon are super heavy feeders. You only need like a good pinch. You could do less than that. You don't want to burn it. I've burnt stuff plenty of times. Alright, mix it in the hole. Take my Jubilee start out. And these have seeds in them, so they should be fine with just 2 plants. If you're growing seedless, you want to grow at least 1 seeded watermelon, because the seeded ones, I think, seems like they have more flowers, so they bring in more pollinators. Alright, so, and I just backfill the, you see how sandy the dirt is here, no matter what you do. It's a floor of sand. It's okay though. The only thing is when it's real dry, when we haven't had much rain, like this week was real dry and pretty warm, that your plants can struggle a little bit. Alright. Gotta make sure that I get the dirt back down in there too. I can come with a blower later and blow this. Okay. 1 in the ground. And hole number 2. You can see that this one has like 3 different plants in it. It's gonna be alright. I'm gonna leave them. Again, digging the soil out. I went around with the hoe because I had all kinds of little weed seeds coming up in the parts of the garden that aren't covered with the ground cover, weed fabric, whatever you want to call it. I got those taken care of, especially before it rained, because the rain will jump start those weeds. Come out and they'll be double in size, if not bigger. Good roots. home. And I'm gonna come over even though it's supposed to rain. Sometimes they say it's gonna rain and it doesn't, or it looks like it's gonna storm and it doesn't. So before I go in, I'm gonna give everything a good drink of some fish emulsion. Look at that. Yuck, I don't know what that is. That's why I wear gloves. Okay. I know last Monday it looked like it was going to rain. Looked like it was going to storm. We had dark clouds. Didn't get anything. If you have any idea what that weird thing is, let me know. Alright, so this is in. That's it. 2 watermelon plants. I only had 1 cantaloupe come up so far that I started from seed. So whenever I plant the cantaloupe, I'm going to have to plant another hole with some more seeds in it. Hopefully we'll get some homegrown cantaloupe this year too. So I just wanted to show you, this is the next morning with that Cherokee purple that I showed you that I just transplanted yesterday, and it was looking all sad. So this is by the next morning. I just, transplanted it, watered it in, and it bounced right back. Alright, so thank you again for watching my video today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel, share it with any of your friends and family that you think might enjoy it. And to all my friends and family that live far away in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, North Carolina, Fort Myers, it's good to see you. Thank you again for joining me here in my garden. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Have a good week.